It is Thursday, the third day of March 2022. Unfortunately, Vlad is still at it as we've moved into roughly a solid week of this bullshit. Listen, what we've got here is a failure to communicate. Some men you just can't reach. So you get what we had here last week, which is the way he wants. Well, he gets. I don't like it any more than you. Unless, of course, you're one of those sociopaths walking around in various places with the Trump Putin 2024 signs, in which case you probably love watching another sociopath invade a sovereign country. Of course, the irony isn't entirely lost on me, as the good old US of A has done that a number of times in the past, but this time it's different, see? See? We're not the ones doing it, so it's much, much worse, you know? The president kind of said as much Tuesday night without really saying it as much. At any rate, though, fuck politics. Fuck politics. See, I can't even get it out of my fucking mouth. I'm getting aggravated. Something's bouncing around here. Fucking A. We're off to a banging start. Banging. I'm sure this is going to be a fucking disaster of an episode. Getting a late jump, which kind of stinks, but it is what it is. It's not serious. This isn't a serious thing. I don't know why I give a shit. But anyways, fuck politics. It's just all annoying and depressing, so let's talk about something else, shall we? How about baseball? They couldn't have fucked anything up, right? For fuck's sake. Look, that's all right here, right now, on Complaints and Observations.
Still, the most less than average podcast on the internet. With a host who's the smartest person in the room when he's the only one there. A continuing odyssey into mediocrity. Guaranteed to make you question your life choices and your own sanity. This is Complaints and Observations with Dave LaPointe. Who the hell is Dave LaPointe?
I think he's a bum. I think he's an absolute bum.
You goddamn right he's a bum. He's a bum. You know, I wanted to talk about Aaron Rodgers last week, and then I refrained because I'm tired of it. There's nothing new. There's nothing really funny. He went on a spiritual quest and, enemas and vomiting. And I don't even know if I may have brought this up on last week's episode. I don't even remember because I don't really remember like 5 minutes ago. But man, he's such a fucking weird dude. Anyways, how are you doing? Huh? Pretty good? As good as you can, you can be doing, I guess, right? Trying to sort of just keep your head down and moving forward as best you can. I hope that's what you're doing. I hope you're, taking some time to be thankful for the situation that you're in, regardless of what that might be, because it could be much, much worse, I assure you. You could be living in the Ukraine and, dealing with this bullshit. So, I mean, given the state of world affairs, it would be impossible to not talk about what's going on in Ukraine. And of course, like everyone else, I've done my fair share of doom scrolling. That is your vocab word of the week, doom scrolling. Not even a real word, but I can assure you Merriam and Webster will be adding that. Is it Merriam and Webster or just Merriam-Webster? I don't know. Dictionary companies. Anyways, the arbiter of words. Now, see, that'd be a great name for a podcast. I wonder if that exists. I should write that down. The arbiter of words. What would you do? Just talk about words? I could probably do that. Arbiter of words. If nothing else, it's a terrific band name. So feel free. Merriam-Webster. Doom scrolling will probably be their, word du jour in the coming days and weeks. But so I mean, everything that we see and that we hear sucks. So then, as I said in the intro, I'm sure there are a fair number of people who either just don't care or don't know or simply don't fault Putin for trying to literally steal a free country. I've read my fair share of stories about all of this. The resistance, the buildup around it, the forethought that went into it, which in hindsight was probably very little. Two things that fascinate me about this thing, right? One, the relative civility between the two sides on the front lines, right? You haven't heard a ton about the Russian infantry like rolling in and just shooting up a city, right? I mean, obviously that's happening in some smaller instances, but what you're seeing a lot of videos, is Ukrainian citizens interacting with Russian soldiers in a number of different ways, which I think it sort of lends itself to the fact that a lot of these Ukrainians can speak Russian. That's one. So they're able to communicate clearly, effectively, with no issue. And two, they're neighbors, and they were part of one country not so long ago. Civility is the wrong word, obviously, but most of the damage that the Russians have been doing has been coming from the bombs and missiles and all that shit. But the planning that went into this on the Russian side, I'm not entirely certain was one. From everything that I've read, it definitely wasn't expressed to the actual foot soldiers, the people that would be on the ground actually doing the work. It seems a lot of these kids thought they were just going for winter exercise, whatever the fuck that was. But I mean, it's all mandatory military anyway for these kids, so they don't fucking know what they're doing. But it's fascinating. That part of it is incredibly fascinating. The other thing is, and look, I'm not going to profess to know a ton about the inner workings of Russian society, because anybody who says that is full of shit. One, because information doesn't come out. Actual factual information does not come out of Russia. Most of the shit that you'll hear from the country is bullshit. If there's one thing that the Russians are good at, it's propaganda. They are terrific, and they've been doing it for a very long time. And what they're doing here is very effective. However, the world is so small at this point that it's very difficult to kind of pass that off effectively anymore. I still think in some regards it works, but it doesn't have the same sort of oomph that it may have had once upon a time. But kind of going back to my previous statement about the Russian military, the population of Russia has gotten all kinds of fucked up in the last 25 years or so. There are roughly 12.5 million men ages 30 to 34, but only 6.5 aged 20 to 24. I find that bananas. Part of the reason is they have the lowest male life expectancies in the world and a horribly depressed citizenry. They have been for a very long time. Being under the thumb of an autocrat will do that. The other thing is like the cost of this. Like the economy that couldn't afford a prolonged war to begin with is, dragged into a prolonged war. All of which says that this probably isn't going to last very long. Maybe the Russian rank and file just quit, and that'll do her. Or there's a military coup to like close ranks on Putin or something. But the one thing that nobody should really be discounting is that if things look their most bleak, Vlad decides to push a button and drop an A bomb. Now, crazy out of the fucking. It's just not something you want to think about, obviously. But they've got about 800 nuclear warheads, at the ready. Whereas, the United States has about 1,300. For what? Like, what the fuck can you do with that many? It'd take about a dozen before the world is pretty much done with. But I was reading a story about Fiona Hill. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Fiona Hill. The name might ring a bell. She did testify against old Don in one of his impeachment trials. Isn't it weird you say one of? Like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ, dude. Anyway, she was the former Europe and Russia senior director at the NSC. And apparently she knows more about this guy than just about any other American. And she says that it's not impossible to think that he'd make that choice. He wants the world to be afraid of him. And if he gets to a point where he no longer thinks that's the case, well, then he'll just go ahead and use the weapons that he has. Now, is that likely? Probably not, but it's certainly possible. Something that you could probably keep in the back of your mind. But, don't start organizing, nuclear fallout evacuations in your office. It's just, this is going to take a lot more than, EU sanctions to get this thing to fucking wrap up. It's going to take close to the entire world as possible to basically tell this guy to fuck off. Which means, we're not doing business with you anymore. We're going to close everything off so that you cannot function as a country unless you stop, and then we figure out what goes on after that. But it's 2022. Why are we still doing this shit? Like, enough. He could have been in his absurdly large home enjoying his ill-gotten gains and just sort of floating through life, enjoying life, and doing, whatever fucking dumb shit dictators do within the confines of their own home. Instead, he had to go and decide he was going to steal some farmland. But the best part about this whole thing is that the Ukrainians are flat out unfuckwithable. They are not to be trifled with. They, the videos you've seen about this, and again, this kind of goes back to the propaganda angle. This is not to say that Ukraine is disseminating misinformation. I don't really think that's the case. I think a lot of it is they're taking these videos that have come out, about all kinds of people coming back to the country to fight, this, that, and the other, and they're using it to their advantage, and rightfully so. You need to combat misinformation with truth, and I think they're doing that. In this case, these people, a lot of them obviously remember the Soviet regime. They remember their independence. It's a fresh memory. And that's why they're not backing down. And that's why I don't think, I really do not think that Russia knew just how much of a fight that they were going to put up. Not only that, not only would they put up a fight, but they would do a hell of a job putting up said fight. They probably also didn't think that the president was going to turn into this unbelievably inspired and inspiring leader. I really don't think that they thought that through. I thought maybe maybe because this guy's not a fucking lifelong politician or a filthy oligarch that he was just going to roll over and play dead. I mean, it makes you wonder what he was thinking going into this thing. What did he think was going to happen? Well, obviously he thought that it would be over in a few days. But I mean, it's not. And it hasn't ended. And it makes me wonder how long this fucking thing's gonna go. I hope it resolves quickly. Because, it sucks. I feel bad. I feel bad for these fucking people. So many. And once it's over and they start to clean up and figure shit out, it's just gonna be worse. Because so many of these people, something like 650,000 people have already left the country. It's going to turn into a massive refugee crisis if it's not resolved soon. Because I mean, what do you do? I mean, the good thing is that the countries that border Ukraine have been very good. Romania, Poland, Belarus. Fuck you, douchebags. They've been great about accepting refugees, but I mean, eventually they're going to put a halt on it. And I say been very good. There's a lot of instances where, a lot of Africans that lived in Ukraine are being shit on, which again, no surprise, given how historically Africans are treated pretty much everywhere on Earth. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. I'm curious to see if these sanctions or anything that they're doing actually works. I sure hope. Again, most of us don't want to see this. So yeah, it was way too serious. And I'm way too dumb to be talking about shit like that. So I haven't done charity of the week in quite some time, but there's something I wanted to point out again, given the current global situation. World Central Kitchen. If you're not familiar, you should be, and I tell you why. It is a fantastic organization that's been around for a while. It started in Haiti. Chef Jose Andres. If you don't know the name, you probably would know his face. But they started in Haiti during that nasty earthquake, however many years ago. Basically, just showing up to these places and cooking food. And not just showing up, but showing up in mass. And so right now, they're at about 20 different checkpoint locations across 4 different countries, cooking food, providing services for Ukrainians that are flowing across these borders. It is crazy work, and I can't imagine the amount of money, and 2, the amount of time and effort that's put into just literally at the drop of a hat, pick up, drop into these terrible places that have been affected by God knows what, and served food to just everybody. It's magnificent, and I implore you, if you're looking for a way to help, this is a good way to help. WCK.org. WCK.org. Check it out. Go to the story tab. Learn about what they're doing. He has an excellent Instagram page. He was just in Poland recently. I think it might have been a couple days ago. Serving food. I mean, like thousands and thousands and thousands of meals for people. And it's bananas. So there's your charity of the week. Check it out. If you're looking for a way to lend a hand, I guess, and try to bring some light to a very dark situation. World Central Kitchen. Be a good human. Send Chef Jose a couple bucks. And yeah, WCK.org. Another thing that I mentioned briefly in the open was baseball. And if you're at all a sports fan, you're disappointed with what Major League Baseball is doing and what they've done and how they're going to proceed. The whole thing fucking sucks. And the whole thing is fucking so goddamn stupid. But at the same time, the owners do not care. They literally do not care about the actual game of baseball. If they did, none of this would be happening. But they don't care. The value of Major League Baseball franchises currently, average value, is like $2.3 billion. For any of these people to be crying poor is laughable. Now, of course, there are some clubs that are in lesser markets, if you will, that, actual value might be lower. For example, the Oakland Athletics. And part of the reason for that is that they play in a literal shithole. No, it is actually a shithole. They've had multiple sewage leaks over the years. And so if the Oakland Athletics pick up and move to Las Vegas, as has been bandied about, the value of that franchise suddenly then becomes close to $2.3 billion. So let's not play dumb, okay? This is a lockout. This is not a strike. So that's the first thing. The owners have said, we will not play baseball until this collective bargaining agreement is complete. What they've done in the past is, kept playing the game while negotiating. But apparently in this particular instance, that's not good enough. Obviously, you're not going to be able to get into the head of these guys to figure out exactly what it is that they want and what they plan to do. But it's fairly evident that when they're pinching pennies and when their offers to the players union are, terrible, it's fairly certain and it's fairly obvious that this is what they wanted. They wanted regular season games canceled. There's probably, if I had to venture a guess, of the 30 teams, I would say it's slightly less than half, maybe a dozen teams that are holding this up. But at the same time, I would say that there's probably, 6 to 8 clubs who just are going to do whatever anyone else does. And then there's, 8 to 10 clubs that are against the clubs that want to shut this down. So and again, I could be way off. There could be 24 clubs that just say, fuck it, I don't want to play. I don't want to pay these guys this month. And then there could only be a handful of teams that are, really fighting for it. You'll never hear anything come out that says, oh, the Cardinals were the team that wanted or that wants to get this done. You will hear about it when it finally gets settled, because that's how these things go. When it gets settled eventually, and it will, because one side's going to break, and I do think it's the owners, and I'll get to that in a minute. But when it's settled, you're going to hear all these weird little rumors. Well, the Cardinals ownership really wanted to play, just to make themselves fucking look good. So by the end of the season, all 30 teams will have their little floated info out there to Ken Rosenthal, Atal, saying that they were the ones that really wanted to go. They wanted to play. They were ready. They were going to talk to the union and get it straightened out. But, the thing fucking sucks. And as is always the case with this, the owners love to come out and, they like to fucking kick Rob Manfred in the ass to go to the microphone and take the bullets and say shit that, you can see the bullshit dripping from his fucking eye ducts, tear ducts, eye ducts. There's a good name, eye ducts, Eyeducks, eye ducts, not tear ducts. Ladies and gentlemen, the eye ducts. You can see the bullshit pouring from Rob Manfred's eyes as he's up there saying that, we were listening to the fans. And then he giggles. Fuck off, you fucking troll. Like, just, they would have been so much better off saying nothing. Write out a statement, release it, call it a day. Get back on your private jets, go home. And again, I got sidetracked with eye ducts. As is usually the case with these things, is that somehow the owners manage to tip the scale in their favor amongst the general populace because, as I've talked about previously, the American public loves to worship rich people. So the owners, being absurdly wealthy, more so than the players, are going to be looked at more favorably by dumb people. The problem is, the only thing that you see come out is that the average major league salary is $4.3 million. But what it fails to tell you is that it's something like 71% of major league players make less than $1 million a year. 71%. That's a fucking big ass number. What tips the scale is that there are a ton of dudes, a ton. And when I say ton, what? 2 dozen, 3 dozen, making more than like 25 mil or something, like some crazy number, 20 to 25 million, which skews the average. So, the players are getting boned because they're always looked at as greedy because they make more than the average American, than the average fan. So they're the ones that are deemed greedy when, the owners are exploiting their labor to try to make more money. The name of the game is money, okay? Baseball being a fun pastime activity has been gone for 100 years. It's been a money-making venture for a century now. So, there's gonna be these problems. So the players, right? For their to their credit, I should say, to their credit, they came out and explained themselves. And Tony Clark, owner of the best goddamn beard ever, that is just delightful. Black guys with white beards, what a fucking perfect look. Oh my god. Dynamite. He comes out and wonderfully lays out their side of the argument, and he did it quickly. Like he said, fucking, hey, they locked us out and then they waited a month and a half to pick up the phone. That should be enough to get people to be on labor's side here. No, you would think, but it ain't. The players should just say fuck it, right? Disband the union and then start from scratch. You mean to tell me that there aren't a ton of fucking people out there looking to get into sports? There are a ton. And most of these guys could probably go in on equal ownership, a la, like, give me a dumb example. The new USFL, where it's like, there are no real owners. There's an ownership group of the whole league. They all play in one building. There you go. You could do the fucking same thing with baseball. You could sponsor the fuck out of it. Hell, like, Barstool could get involved. Get Jared Carabas and his beautiful head of hair, out front running the fucking thing. I don't think he'd want to, and I wouldn't blame him, but still, you can stream the fuck out of it. Start with an exhibition and tout how great a new league could be for the fans. Oh, they need to do more. The marketing arm of the MLB Players Association is limited at best, if they even have one. But look, it's fucking easy, and there are a ton of players who get on board quickly. Maybe not, but you would need like 30 guys or so to do it, right? And if you get one mega star to get involved, it would work. You had Bryce Harper fucking posting showed an Instagram of him in a Tokyo Giants uniform. Like, you don't mean that fucking kid's crazy enough to just go out there and start hacking away at pitches in McCoy Stadium or some fucking dump that doesn't have an actual team? Fuck. It's not difficult. Maybe. The problem with the owners is they seem to think that they're very important, right? No one's going out buying a John Henry jersey, are they? No, because nobody fucking cares. The other side of this is there's no small factor here that there are thousands of employees of all these teams that are going to lose out on paychecks now, who are just cannon fodder for fucking ownership. A lot of these people already got fucked during COVID. Now they're getting fucked again. Nobody fucking cares. Because baseball fans are narrow fucking minded. Narrow minded. Problem is, I love the sport, but I hate Major League Baseball. Good fucking grief. It's boring. Boring. Support your local college team. Well, maybe not. Well, yeah, fine. Support your local college team. Go see some summer league baseball and other stuff. Do all that stuff. But seriously, fuck Rob Manfred. That's terrible. But fuck that guy. Speaking of food, a lot of food adventures this past week. Went and had a hibachi meal last Saturday. My darling wife and I, and our friends and their children, went to the local hibachi establishment. Now, when I go to hibachi, I tend to overdo the sake. I'm that guy. I'm the asshole that, will sit there and guzzle the sake for as long as the chef is willing to provide the facial, if you will. Well, Saturday, I think I had not only too much sake, but whatever else was in one of those bottles. Because I say this with all honesty, there is no fucking way in hell that was sake in that other bottle. We left there, went to my buddy's house. I had one drink. So I had 2 beers at hibachi, 2 tall Sapporos, right? All the sake, and then a gin and tonic at my buddy's, put in a little snifter of tequila. We get home, right? And I ended up not only fucking puking my guts out, I must have been on my knees in front of the toilet for a solid hour. And then passed out on the bathroom floor. Now, this is not the first time in recent memory that this has happened. This happened, it's 6 to 9 months ago, somewhere in there. But that happened because I took a couple of edibles, and that wiped me out. When I drink and have an edible, I'm useless. So I said to myself, look, I must have had an edible, but I did not recall taking an edible. And I confirmed that the following weekend. And did I take an edible? No. All right. And I got that from multiple people because I didn't think I did. But boy, it was not good. So wait. So hibachi must have been 2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 Saturdays ago. And then last Saturday or last Friday is when I realized, or learned, I should say, that I did not take an edible. So now I'm thinking, all right, that's it. I'm done with sabaki. I'm done with sake at hibachi. Done. Boycotting. Not doing it anymore. I'll eat all the fucking food, but no, I am not fucking drinking whatever is coming out of that bottle. No fucking way. Done. It was ugly, folks. There's nothing worse than being a fucking fat, a fat asshole in their 40s, uh, you know, on their knees in front of the toilet trying to fucking puke because you're in absolute dire straits. Apparently, I fell over and damaged the small metal trash can that's in the bathroom. It no longer functions properly. It's like you step on it, the lid opens. Nope, didn't do it. It won't open anymore. Oh, it's so bad. It's so stupid. I shouldn't be doing that anymore. I'm an old fucking man. There's no need. I should not be in that. I should not be in that position. It's my own fucking fault. I just sometimes I just do not know my limits, and it's awful because that Sunday was a complete waste of a fucking day. I was completely useless. I cannot handle a hangover anymore. I can't. I'm going to be 44 fucking years old in a month, roughly a month. And I can't do it anymore. And I say all this stuff and, you know, going to Vegas in a couple weeks, I'm praying to whatever God is there that I do not end up in that predicament again. So I need to be careful. But David has a hard time being careful on occasion, so we shall see. The other interesting food thing, and I posted this on the Instagram page at Complaints Pod. It was in the story. Took a poll. Problem is, I forgot to go back and check the results of said poll. Went to a restaurant the other day, and they had a special Nashville hot chicken sandwich. I was very excited, so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get that. So I order it. Waitress comes back and says, "I'm sorry, we're all out of the sandwich." And I said, "I'm sorry, what? You're out of the sandwich? Like what part are you out of?" I don't even know if I asked that question. I was just so befuddled by the fact that she said that they were out of the sandwich. Now, I understand it's a special. So it's probably, I don't want to say it's probably limited because it shouldn't be. What in a Nashville hot chicken sandwich wouldn't you have readily available anyway? Is it the brine? Is it the marinade? Is it pickles? Is it spices? What is it? Tell me what the problem is. Explain to me what you're out of, and then I could make the decision if I want to move forward without that particular ingredient. Because, look, maybe it was just going to be a hot chicken sandwich and not a Nashville hot chicken sandwich, whatever the fuck the difference is. I just have never heard of a restaurant being out of a sandwich before. I was appalled and got stuck with a subpar pizza. So let me know because I missed the results of the poll. My guess is nobody fucking answered it anyway because, I've got like 5 listeners. So I'm guessing nobody fucking answered the poll. But, I'm still confused. Terribly confused by it. You know what else I'm confused by? So I know a person. Like I don't want to be terribly specific because I don't want to be a dick, but I know a person who somewhat recently had a heart attack, okay? And in my mind, if you have a heart attack, that it's typically a signal that you should kind of change your way of living in some regards, right? You kind of pull back on the reins a little, and because you typically don't want to die, right? Anyways, this person that I know that had a heart attack, like this person eats like a goddamn fucking garbage disposal. Not exactly old person by any means, middle age, but recent heart attack. And I see this person yesterday eating fucking multiple 2 bags of Taco Bell, God knows what. Constantly drinking. Maybe not constantly, that's not the right word. But the times that I've spent with this person in a social dining setting, they're drinking somewhat heavily. And they also love soda pop. Not regular soda pop, diet soda pop. And man, I can't for the life of me fucking figure out why. I mean, look, I understand it's probably very difficult to break habits. But when you have the kind of motivation of your heart hates you, maybe that's a pretty good fucking time to kind of put the Taco Bell down. Put the fucking soda pop down. I hope I never find out what that's like, honestly. If I do have a heart attack, just fucking take me. Don't let me try to change things because I know I won't really do a very good job. And quite frankly, I don't think my diet now is nearly as bad as it used to be. I used to be very similar. Way too much fast food, way too much soda. I'd like to think that I've kind of grown out of that a bit. My blood pressure is still high. I think a lot. I don't want to say the majority of that, but there's a lot of fucking hereditary HBP going down. But yeah, I'm fat, and so hopefully I won't. I don't want to get fatter. The goal, I think, is to not be fatter. Like I've lost weight, not a ton, but a little. I could stand to lose more, although at my age, it's probably going to be much more difficult to do. But whatever. Exercise and just to exercise. It's probably good for you. But man, fuck. If I had a heart attack and lived, that would scare the fuck out of me. It would scare me enough to fucking not eat Taco Bell all the time. Right? Am I fucking crazy for thinking that? 617-657-4736. Call in. Let me know. Am I fucking crazy for thinking that way? I don't think so. Yeesh. As it is Thursday, it is time for everyone's most favorite part of the show, 3 gripes, aka this shit is almost over. Yeah. Gripe number 1, celebrity babies. Yeah, fuck babies. Not literally. Asshole, shut the fuck up. So Rihanna is still pregnant and far too many people care. I don't understand parents as a whole. That has been discussed on this program ad nauseum. So let's get that out of the way. As a whole, I don't get parents. But what I really don't get is the parents that have to show off their kid, and it's even worse for celebrities. If you're a regular, normal Jane, you want to show off your kid, fine. In fact, I'm all for it. You're happy, proud, etc., etc., and so on and so on. But for celebrities, it's far worse. Rihanna hasn't even had hers yet, and if you spent any time on social media, you'll have seen her pregnant belly at least a dozen times already. This is not a dig at Rihanna by any means. I don't know anything about the young lady. She seems rather delightful, to be honest. She showed up on a red carpet event the other day. One of these reporters said, "You're late." She turns to said reporter and just says, "No shit." That's just funny. Sorry, that's funny. But eventually, when the kid is born, and I say this, I'm making a radical assumption that when the kid is born, you're going to see a ton of pictures of this kid. As the kid grows up, you'll see a ton more pictures, so on and so forth. Sort of very Kardashian-esque, where these people just love to fucking take pictures of their kid and advertise their kid. Now, when your last name is Kardashian, it's a brand, it's a thing. So you have to perpetuate the brand. You have to keep building, going and going and going. That's your whole fucking thing. You literally can't do anything else other than be a Kardashian. So, for Kim's children and the other two's children, you're going to be on, you're going to be seen. I have far more respect for the people that don't post their kids all over the internet because it lends a sense of privacy that they're really unlikely to have anyways, right? I don't have examples, but there are actually, I think it's the fuck's that dude's name? He has a podcast too, far more. I think he has like 6 or 7 listeners. Dak Shepard, him and his wife. That girl from boy, I'm so bad tonight, huh? Holy fuck, you're stupid. Kristen Bell. They do not post their kids' faces on social media. And again, I think it lends itself to keeping that sort of part of their life private. And as they get older, maybe they want to be on social media. Who knows? I don't know how they're going to raise the children, but I think it's better. And now, sure, some of these kids might be the cutest ever. Squee! But that doesn't mean your millions of followers plus millions more need to see your kid. Stop exploiting your children for, I don't know, anything. It's just not becoming. Like, who's a recent example? Olivia Munn, a stunning young woman, right? Her and that dude who was just on SNL and did the one of the best skits they've done ever. The what the fuck's his name? Shit, fuck, the hell's his name? Oh, it's gonna drive me crazy. Hold on, 1 minute. John Mulaney. John Mulaney. They had a child. And now this fucking kid's everywhere. On her social media, he was on SNL. What's there a picture of during one of the commercials when they come back? The little graphics they put on before they go back to the show? There's John holding his baby. And look, again, if that's what you want to do, fine. Like, you're well within your rights. It's your child. I just don't, is there nothing sacred? Is there no private life anymore? How many celebrities can you think of where you don't know a ton about them, right? It's few. You can probably, maybe 1 or 2 hands. It's sad. I think it's sad. Pathetic's not the right word, but unbecoming is a word for it. And quite frankly, I don't like it, which is why I have a gripe with it. I don't know. I could go on and on about that shit, but nobody really wants to listen to it, right? No, because I don't really want to say it. It's a boring topic. But David, it's a boring show. Shut the fuck up. Gripe number 2, podcasting. Hell of a segue, huh? Look at that. How do so many people do this and not do it for just the fun of it, for shits and giggles? The problem with podcasting, right, is that there are way too many people who take it way too fucking serious. For example, I get an email from a listener who will remain nameless because he's banned, who asked a bunch of questions, serious questions, about how I make the show. This person is going to be working on a podcast as, in his words, a writer and head troll. I'm sure it's going to be delightful. But some of the questions he asked were like how I come up with topics, what kind of mic do I use, how I edit the show, blah, 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 blah. It ain't fucking rocket science. Nobody listens to this shit anyway. So the amount of effort that I put into it, I love the amount of effort that I put into it, right? I'll tell you why, because it's fun. I enjoy it. You know, I'm able to, I love microphones. I love talking into microphones. If you know me at all, you know full well that one of my favorite things is having a microphone in my hand. I'm that fucking asshole. So listen, to every podcaster out there with 5 listeners, I have something I need you to hear, okay? You're never going to get rich from this. You're never going to get famous with this. You're never going to get anything with this. The odds are appallingly low. And if you're not doing it, it's just a fun hobby. You should probably find something else to do. I stumbled upon a podcast with a guy who his whole shtick is like teaching people how to make a podcast, but every single fucking thing was about making money. And maybe there's money out there. There very well could be, but you know, this guy's out there talking tens of thousands of dollars. The odds of a regular schmo who who isn't interesting, who has a terrible delivery, who stammers all the time, and has no actual niche or format, it's not possible. You're not making money from this. You do it because you enjoy doing. I'm approaching. I'm like 2 months short from 2 years of doing this crap. 2 fucking years. There are a few things that I've managed to stick out for 2 years, okay? Trust me when I tell you. Again, if you know me, you know how many jobs I've had. Not, I would say the vast majority of them have lasted less than 2 years. So the fact that I've gotten this far, the only reason I stick it out is because I have fun. It's a fun hobby. I like talking about shit. I would like to talk to more people within this format, but, you know, it is what it is. It's kind of a good, you know, just take a right turn. If you want to be on the show, let me know. Talk about fucking anything you want. I don't care. Unless you're banned. If you're banned from the show, it's going to take a lot of fucking work to get you back. A lot. Maybe not a lot, but some. Which leads me to gripe number 3. Conspiracy theory people. I know for sure that I've talked about these people on the show before, and I know that it's something that gets talked about a lot, but this week I found myself caught up in a conversation about a 15-year-old from Newton, Massachusetts, who passed away after collapsing on the basketball court last month. Fucking sad story. 15-year-old kid, dead. Clearly had some heart issues. So there was a tweet from WBZ about it, and it was then commented on by someone that I follow on the Twitter machine, basically saying that this happened because of the COVID vaccine. Well, because. And I sat there and I stared at it and I said, David, don't do it. Don't do it, David. Don't, because you know that it's just going to be not unpleasant, but annoying. And, you know, I didn't stop and take a second and thought it through. I didn't. I shouldn't say that I didn't. I did. I guess I didn't think enough because I stupidly replied with a very plain question. Quote, and you know this how? Question mark. End quote. Because I needed to know. Okay. Like maybe I missed something. Maybe there was something written about somewhere that would lead me to believe that there was a possibility that this was a true statement. And of course, the answers I got was, quote, pretty easy to spot vaccine related myocarditis, end quote. Well, seems this person is of high medical intelligence. Little did I know. That's not true. If that's the case, show me your bona fides, but my guess is that's not the case. From there, the conversation derailed into me being told that the CDC obviously lied to us and a handful of memes. Fairly standard conspiracy theorist kind of responses, right? Where, um, you know, everyone else is wrong, okay? And there's only a handful of people that know the truth. And they all happen to reside on fucking Twitter. The problem here is that while there is a shred of validity into vaccine-related issues, these people seem to think that everyone else is covering up some kind of giant scheme. Like, what is the scheme? When you really sort of get into, and the problem is you can't just ask them, hey, how does this work? Why is this happening? They don't have answers, okay? They can't tell you it's for A, B, or C because they don't have that sort of depth, right? They don't have a depth to that answer. They can't give it to you because it doesn't exist. I did a little homework, right, to kind of figure out, all right, what's the possibility of this? Now, these cardiac related issues from COVID exist. Pre-vaccine, you saw a number of people that were getting COVID and then had heart issues. Case in point, the dude from the Red Sox, whose name eludes me because, again, I can't remember shit. COVID, Red Sox pitcher. Man, Google's the best. Eduardo Rodriguez. Yeah. He developed myocarditis from COVID-19. So look, it's not entirely vaccine related, but again, the studies have been done. So the percentage of people with vaccine-related myocarditis, according to a study by the Journal of the American Medical Association, is 0.000023%. It was basically, let me see if I still have the number, 1,626 cases out of 70.2 million participants. 70.2 million. So there were 1,600 people. So, is it possible that this young man was vaccinated and it led to a cardiac issue? Yes. Is it likely? No. It's just not. The kid's mother is a doctor. And, basically, the doctor, his mom, the working theory is that it was an evolving condition called hypotrophic cardiomyopathy. And it increases the risk of sudden cardiac death due to an arrhythmia. But that little nugget from a story was not included in our conversation. It was strictly right to Fuck you. What do you know? I know. You don't. This is all a fucking scheme. It's just, to think that they are under the impression that Pfizer and the US government and Moderna, they're all in it. Tens of thousands of people. They're all in on a scheme to do what? I don't know. To secretly kill kids on a basketball court? Maybe. Who knows? Bum bum bum. No, that's not what it means at all. Just the circles that these people inhabit are tiny and so insulated that it's impossible to see outside them. They just, everyone else is wrong. They're the only ones smart enough to know what's really going on. And the problem is this has existed forever. This is not some new phenomenon. The moon landing, Jesus Christ, Princess Di, 9/11, JFK, JFK Jr., and literally thousands more. As with all of it, they find some tiny shred of truth, or what they think is a tiny shred of truth, and stretch it so fucking thin that it looks like worn out silly putty and is equally as flimsy. But they will die on that fucking hill until something new comes along. And their attention span can be spent elsewhere. It's depressing. It's sad. It really is sad for a multitude of reasons. I've talked for way too long. So that's the end of the show. Don't you hate when I do that? I do. It's gross. What do I want to close with? Nothing of any importance, any interest. Just the usual spiel, right? I have a Instagram page at ComplaintsPod. I have a Twitter page at ComplaintsPod. I have a Facebook page, but I don't use it because fuck Facebook. I have a YouTube page that I don't do anything with. I also have a Twitch page that I don't do anything with. A TikTok page that I don't do anything with. At Complaints Talk. TOK. See what I did there? TikTok is just not, it's not for me. I haven't tried enough, and I'm not clever enough to produce entertaining content on TikTok. I can't do it in a podcast. What would make me think that I could do it on a social media platform? I have a website, complaintsandobservations.com. On said website, there is a blog that I have been incredibly lax at keeping up, but I am fully prepared to write a new blog on Friday, and one of the topics is going to be old people. Old people. I can tell how excited you are. I can feel the excitement. It is palpable. What else? Please call the show. 617-657-4736. Call the show. Leave a voicemail. What the fuck is on your mind? Honestly, what the fuck? I have one fucking outstanding voicemail guy. Andrew is just the fucking bee's knees. The dude is hilarious. He cracks me up every time he calls. I look forward to his voicemails. I would like to look forward to yours as well. So if you have something that you need to get off your chest, 617-657-4736. That is the place to go. Call Reverend Dave's confessional. Caught myself there, huh? You get the nope. Back it up, Dave. No, that's not it. Call in, share what's on your mind, and I'll share it with the 2 or 3 other people that listen to this program. It'll be fun. But listen, I need you to tell your friends. I've said this since the beginning. Tell your friends. Either you're an asshole and won't do it, or you're a fucking loser and don't have any. Which is it? Which is it? Are you an asshole or a loser? I don't think you're either. I just think you're lazy. Because I'm yelling into the microphone, and it probably sounds like shit. All right, seriously, that's all. As always, please tell your friends, tell your moms, I love you. Well, look, tell your moms that you love your moms. If your mother's still alive, send her a text, call her, say, Mom, I love you. If you don't like your mother, say, thank you for birthing me. Because without them, you wouldn't be here. Yeah, that's it. Look, take care of yourself. Please, for the love of fucking God, take care of each other. Godspeed. Ta-ta.